Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's video. So today is September 15th. You're actually seeing this video the day that I'm recording it. Shocker. But I wanted to share with you some thoughts because yesterday I had my first teaching day, subbing day of the school year, and I want to share with you what my experience was at school, how it went, and what I thought. So let's get started. So I got a phone call about 10 after 8 yesterday asking if I was available to sub yesterday. And I said, of course. I mean, didn't have anything else to do. That is my job, is to sub at the school. So by 8:45, I was walking in the door of the school. The first thing that was different than in previous years was that all doors are locked at 8:05. So literally, I got a phone call 5 minutes after the beginning of school because school usually starts at 8:25. But because our school district normally starts the middle of August and they didn't start until September 9th, which was my birthday, they are adding 15 minutes into the beginning of each school day, and they will actually come up with just enough hours so that they do not have to extend the school day. Kudos to the school district. There's enough going on without making the kids go extra time to school. So the first thing I noticed is that it said, if you need entrance, please call. So I started to get out my phone, but they were obviously watching for me and they came and let me in. The second thing that was different was that I had to take my temperature. So what they had in the office is these 3 pedestals with like iPads on them with little temperature readers on them. And we'll use this as an example. This is the temperature reader. I just had to hold my arm out about this far and it told me my temperature and my heart rate. My temperature was 99.6. They kind of looked at me and I went, hormones. My hormones are off the chart today. They went, got it. So they had me sign in, which was normal, and shipped me off to 2nd and 3rd grade SPED. And if you are unaware of what SPED is, that is the Special Education Department. That is typically what I sub in. So the day had already been started since 8:05. I jumped in feet first. My day was relatively easy. I started out with kids who were doing coloring. They were coloring thank you cards after they had written, they had a line that they were supposed to write, thank you for the supplies. And they were supposed to sign their name. These are 2nd and 3rd graders. A card that is smaller than this, I'm showing you my Christmas cards. A card that is smaller than this, a 2nd and 3rd grader was supposed to write, thank you for the supplies. Most of them got thank you. A couple of them got thank you and their name. Some had thank on the top and you at the bottom with their name in really, really tiny print at the bottom. And I mean tiny, like I was about to go hunt down the magnifying glass to make sure it was actually there. But let me tell you, these kids put in a lot of heart into coloring their cards. And they were all beautiful. The SPED teacher for 2nd and 3rd grade, a lot of friends and family had donated things like extra crayons, brand new crayons, other art supplies, kitchen supplies. And I'll go over that in a few minutes. Cleaning supplies, you name it, and like they just wanted to help out with the school year starting so insanely. And so she wanted all the kids to write a thank you note, which I think is great. It works on penmanship, it works on showing appreciation, and then they got to color, which they thought was the greatest thing ever. So they each have their own, instead of taking supplies from classroom to classroom, especially for these kids who travel between several different classrooms for special education. They have a zipper pencil pouch in each classroom that is labeled with their name. And inside of it is crayons, colored pencils, regular pencils, things that they might need for that class. And I will say that each one of the classrooms that they go to, they did not have to provide that for each of them. The teachers went ahead and did that for them. And that's where the thank you note came in for this particular classroom, because she had made a mention that she was going to have to spend this money to put together these little pouches, because they didn't want the supplies moving from classroom to classroom. They wanted them to stay in the classroom. So if they start out with kind of the basic 8-pack of crayons in their bag. And then yesterday they were like, and I go by Miss Lena at school. The reason I do that is because I'm not there all the time. Most of the kids know me already, simply because I'm in the town a lot, and I know their families. I know some of these kids when they were born. Plus, my mom works there, and she is Miss Jane. And there is a Mrs. Hall who teaches 2nd grade. And to alleviate any confusion, I just go by Miss Lena. It works out in the end. So they were... Hold on. You quit that. Quit that. Alright. So they were doing the coloring, and the one little girl says, I need a light blue. So I went over to the teacher and I said, where do I find the crayons? Because I had walked in the classroom like 30 seconds before. And so she's like, oh, top drawer over on that cabinet, there's a whole basket full of bags of crayons of different colors. They're all sorted by color. You just hold it up and you can kind of pull out a few, but those, once they touch the crayon, that stays in their pouch. So if they need an extra crayon, if they need a different colored pencil, it just stays in their pouch. So I did that for about an hour, and then I had a 20-minute break. And so I went down to the work, and the whole time I am wearing a mask. So this isn't the mask that I have. I have a Vera Bradley mask that I picked up, and I have the filters that go in it. But the whole time I have a mask on, where we are all safe. And I'm sanitizing my hands consistently, and I'm washing them consistently. And I will get to that in a little bit as well. So I got to go down to the workroom and take a 25-minute mask break. I was very excited about this. I had some change, so I grabbed a soda out of the cooler and sat there for a wonderful 25 minutes in the air conditioning without a mask on. Then it was time to go do math in 2nd grade. And I was one-on-one with a young man, and we are working on math mountains. And I think it is the most awesome concept, and here's what it is. You take a triangle, and you put a number at the top. Let's say 12. And they're working on their 9s. So the 9 goes in the little left-hand corner. And then in the middle, between here and this empty with number, there's a plus sign. Along both sides of the mountain are subtraction. So 12 minus 9, and 12 is going to equal this number here. 12 minus this number is going to equal the 9. 9 plus this number is going to equal 12. I can actually understand that. I'm like, holy cow, I can understand some of the math that they're teaching. It's 2nd grade. We're doing good, Lena. So they were working on cutting out these math mountain triangles to take home to practice. And the sweetest little boy, he is a left-handed kid trying to navigate a right-handed world, and he had right-handed scissors. I'm like, you need some left-handed scissors. He goes, I broke them. I'm like, when did you break them? He goes, over the summer. I'm like, I'm sorry. He goes, me too. I don't like these. I mean, he was having such a hard time. So I said, okay, how about you cut, because it was like a sheet. I had him cut out the white around it and then cut him into strips. And I said, okay, here's what we'll do. You cut one strip and then I'll cut the other. And that way you can get a break. And he was very okay with that. So he would cut his strip and I'd help him hold it. And I'd cut my strip and then he'd cut his. And then by the time that was done, it was just about time for lunch to be delivered. Yes, and I will go over their lunch routine here in a moment. So the teacher popped by and said, hey, Lena, I'm going to go run down and grab my lunch out of the workroom, warm it up real quick, and because my microwave hasn't gotten here yet. And I'll be right back. I said, okay, that's fine. She's like, and when I'm back, it'll be a little early, but you can go ahead and leave for lunch. Cool. She was gone maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So the lunch cart arrived, and here is how lunch is delivered, or what it looks like. And this was a picture of my lunch because I was called so late yesterday, and I wasn't aware of it, I did not have time to make myself something else for lunch, so I just had a school lunch. It was in a styrofoam container, one corn dog that was wrapped in foil and was kind of soggy. There was 3 packages of ketchup and 2 packages of mustard with a package of utensils. Then they had a handful of tater tots. Then you got a container of grapes or cauliflower. And you got some pre-packaged carrots. I want you to note that I am having lunch at 11:45. I did not have time to eat breakfast because I was still kind of asleep yesterday when they called. I was not feeling the greatest because, again, of hormones. Hormones were driving me nuts yesterday. So, I pretty much ate part of the grapes, the tater tots, and the soggy corn dog. It is delivered to their classroom. These kids live in their classroom. The only time that they are allowed to take off their mask is for lunch, and it's in the classroom. They also have to be 6 feet apart, and their desks are all separated and everything in the classroom. They can bring a beach towel or a blanket and set on the floor. The teachers pretty much have a kitchen in their classroom now. They used to just have a small dorm fridge that was for their use, but now the fridge is for kids that may need something to stay extra cold. And half the teachers have a microwave and the other half are buying one because they have kids who are bringing things to school that need heated up. And that is nothing unusual for our school district. Where I work, they used to have 2 or 3 microwaves that they would put in the cafeteria so that kids could heat up something from home. And so that is nothing new for these kids. To take that away would be something new. It's delivered and they sign up for the meal the day before. And so they have to choose, do they want white milk or chocolate milk, and do they want lunch? And because our school district has one of the free meal grants, so there's only one choice. You either bring your lunch or you get a free lunch. And so a lot of the kids do free lunch. I mean, who wouldn't? So it's delivered and they have about 45 minutes for lunch. And then they go outside and do some stretches. They have to put their mask back on to walk outside. Then they can walk outside. They walk around. They can run. They cannot play on the playground equipment because they would be touching it. And then someone else will touch it. Yeah. They can't take any toys outside. They can't take balls or anything to play with because multiple people would touch it. Yeah. That they pretty much they can run around, or some of them sit on a bench and read a book. Then they go back inside, back to their classroom. I went back to a classroom. I went back to reading. So in the 3rd grade, from 12:15 to 12:45, is DEAR time. And DEAR stands for Drop Everything and Read. So for a half an hour after lunch, and they have gotten some fresh air, they read for a half an hour, which I think is fantastic. This is also one time that kids can take their Lexile reading tests, if they so choose to, or they can read on a new book. I love that. I absolutely love that. And then we go into the next class, and I was pretty much in the same classroom for the rest of the afternoon minus a break. And so then after DEAR was over, I was one-on-one with a student for math. And it was a pretty simple, the kid really didn't need a whole lot of help with the math. And this is 3rd grade math, so I'm in 3rd grade math now. Because they were doing online math. They finished up some worksheets from the day before, and he was right on it. He mainly just needed someone to help a good, nope, you need to stay focused. Nope, what they're doing doesn't matter. You need to focus on you. So it's mainly someone to help keep them focused. I wish I had had someone like that. And then the last half an hour of math, they were doing, well, maybe not half hour, maybe 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes, maybe, actually. They were using their Chromebooks, and they were doing some math games online. And so I kind of helped him get logged in and everything, and the teacher goes, Lena, he's going to be fine with doing that. You can go ahead and go on break. And so I got an extra few minutes of break, which means extra mask off time. So I went back down to the teacher's workroom, and I did my break and was able to take off my mask for about half an hour. So kudos for that. And then I went back and I did the end of my day, which was social studies science. And they're learning about what communities are and what citizens are. And it was the first time that they had gotten to see their social studies book. So about half of the probably about half to 3/4 of the class time was them able to look through the book and through the pictures and kind of see what they were going to be studying in this unit, which I think was a really great way to get them interested in the topic. And so they're going to be going on a walking tour in town, and I think that'll be fun. I hope I get called to sub that day, because I've been on several of those with other sub jobs, and they're always really fun to see the kids' reactions. So then it was time to fill out planners and go home. And I have now fit an 8-hour day into 20 minutes, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Overall, it was a lot of hand washing. Every time they changed classrooms, if they came from one classroom to another, which happens a lot with SPED, you washed your hands. Teachers are required of that as well. So one of the things that I definitely recommend is that you need hand lotion on you. If your kids are in class, they need some hand lotion, because their poor little hands were. One of the little girls was like, "My hands are so dry," and with kids being allergic to allergies and everything, definitely want to make sure to send some hand lotion with your kids to school. Number 2 is hand sanitizer. They still are making it. You can still buy it. Send your kids some hand sanitizer to school. Because sometimes with kids, they do things without thinking about it. They touch their face. They touch a wall, and you're like, you need to sanitize your hands, you need to wash your hands, you need to sanitize your hands. I feel like I just need to replay it on my phone as a recording. Wash your hands, hand sanitize, wash your hands, hand sanitize. I have 2 bottles right up here. You can kind of see, yep, right there. I have 2 bottles. I picked them up 2 different times at Walmart. They're like $3 for the Suave brand. Yeah, those are my Suave brand. And I have on my purse a refillable bottle on a carabiner. And so I just make sure before I leave the house that it is filled. And I pretty much use up half to 3/4 of the bottle every time I'm out. And typically I do have hand lotion on me. I just didn't have it in the right purse yesterday. So I kind of felt the kids' pain with how dry their hands were. Let me tell you, I was slopping on hand lotion. Oh, I washed up real good when I got home. But I slopped on the hand lotion when I got home yesterday. So another thing is that if your kids are if your school is participating in the free lunch program and your kids are telling you that they're still hungry after lunch, believe them, especially, for older kids. I'm not sure what the older kids are getting, if it's the same menu, if it's different, but I can't see like a guy playing football being able to survive on a little container, 2-ounce container of grapes and a little prepackaged thing of mini carrots. Like, if you've been to Disney and gotten a kid's meal, it would look like the carrots are like that. This handful of tater tots and a corn dog. I just can't see it. I was hungry, let alone kids who are, they've been home on like the longest spring break / summer break ever. And they were used to eating and snacking kind of whenever they felt like it. And now they're back on this weird structure where they feel like they aren't getting fed enough. They may actually be hungry. So if your kids are saying to you that they're hungry after lunch, then kind of see what you can do to help them out. Maybe it's going to be you don't do the free lunch. Maybe you have to send lunch for a little while, or maybe send them a little bit more, bulk up something for a snack, because they do get a snack time in the afternoon during deer time. At least our school does it for 3rd grade during their reading time. Read and eat a snack. But the teachers were doing so good. I highly commend all the teachers. They are trying to teach students remotely at the same time that they're teaching students in the classroom, and they are trying to talk to students. Like, if I'm talking to you as a remote student, I'm also trying to keep engaged to the students that are right in front of me, on the other side of this, because they have like this little camera set up for Zoom. And kudos to the teachers there. Kudos to all the teachers who are teaching from a classroom or they're teaching remotely. Kudos to all of them, because this is not easy. Trying to keep engaged kids who are at home, who are maybe they don't have the best setup. They're sprawled on the bed instead of setting up at a desk or at a table, or there's just so many factors that go into all of this that it just takes so much thinking and planning and processing on the teacher's part. And then once, the teachers are having to make sure that the week's lessons and worksheets and stuff are done so far in advance, because remote pick them up weekly. They drop stuff off on Friday and pick up the next week's stuff. So teachers really can't be sick this year, because then everyone's going to go, what do we do, George? It's not the days of old where you throw in a couple of Badger School Bus movies. Yeah, I miss those days. I'm sure the other teachers do too. But overall, I felt 100% safe going into the classroom. I know not all parents feel safe sending their kids to school right now. That's why they have remote options, and that's okay. There's no right way to approach it right now. If you feel safe sending your kids to school, then that's what you should do. If you don't feel safe sending your kids to school and you have the option to have them be at grandma's for school, or a parent or older sibling and you have an option for an adult to be home with them to do remote learning, then that's fine too. There is no right way to do it right now. Everyone has to do what they're comfortable with, and that is what is okay. That is what it boils down to, is that you have to do what is comfortable for you for school. And kudos to those parents who are becoming home parents, who are homeschooling, whether through a homeschool co-op, whether through a virtual school where they're attending Zoom all day, whether you're sending your kids to school because you aren't worried or because you just don't have any other option. Kudos to all of you guys, and kudos to our teachers who are working so hard. And kudos to the paras and TAs, the janitorial staff. I don't know how many times I saw one of my favorite janitors spraying sanitizer everywhere. It looks like she's walking around with a big jug of Kool-Aid, spraying it on everything. Well, it's just a lot of work, and I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but until I spent a day immersed in it, I did not realize how much. So that is my overall thoughts on my first day back at school. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some insight from my video, and that will be the end of this. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, thanks so much for being here. I am super glad to have you as part of our family. Make sure, if you have not yet, to subscribe, ring the bell, make sure it's solid so you